This is Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, good. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya. Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada. श्री राधा माधव की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमाद भय चरणारविंद भक्तिविरंत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की। इस्कॉन बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की। इस्कॉन गुरुवृंद की। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की। श्री रूप श्री सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ सदगोस्वामी प्रभु की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी द्वारका धाम की जय इस्कॉन राधादेश धाम की जय गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय शिल प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय चयनित गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषाभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो ब्रह्मण्य देवाय गोब्राह्मण हिताय च जगद्हिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा. Hare Krishna, welcome to all the listeners to this class on the Srimad Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Once upon a time, Ekachakagram Prabhu said, I'm sure that Anupama Krishna can chant the shlokas in 3 melodies. So I was thinking maybe I should make that true. I will chant this sloka number 72 in 3 melodies, and then we continue to text 73, which is on the board. Is that okay? So, let's see if I can do it. Advaita Nityananda Chaitanyar Dui Anga Angera Avyaya Gana Kahiye Upanga. This is first melody. Advaita Nityananda Chaitanyar Duyanga Angera Avyavagana Kahiye Upanga. Second melody. I know you would say that. Advaita Nityananda Chaitanyara Dui Anga Angera Avyavagana Kahiye Upanga. Radha Gopinath ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Gaunita ki jai. Third melody. So, his vakya is true. Translation. Sri Advaita Prabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu are both plenary portions of Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are the limbs, angas, of his body. The parts of those 2 limbs are called upangas. And now, this verse, which is on the board, which melody should I choose? Second one. Second. Fourth one. I didn't practice the fourth one. Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se saba astra hayya pashanda dalite. Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se saba astra hoya pashanda dalite. Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se saba astra hoya pashanda dalite.
Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se saba astra hoya pashanda dalite.
Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se saba astra hoya pashanda dalite.
Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se saba astra hoya pashanda dalite.
Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se sava astra hoya pashanda dalite. Mataji? Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se saba astra hoya pashanda dalite. Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se sava astra hoya pashanda dalite. Angopanga tikshna astra prabhura sahite se sava astra hoya pashanda dalite. Angopanga, plenary portions and parts. Tikshna, sharp. Astra, weapons, very good. Prabhura Sahite, along with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, say, these, Sava, all, Astra, weapons, Hayya, are, Pashanda. What can it mean, Pashanda?
Non-believers.
Very good. The atheists, Dalite, to trample. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus the Lord is equipped with sharp weapons in the form of his parts and plenary portions. All these weapons are competent enough to crush the faithless atheists. Purport. The word Pashanda is very significant here. One who compares the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the demigods is known as a Pashanda. Pashandas try to bring the Supreme Lord down to a mundane level. Sometimes they create their own imaginary God or accept an ordinary person as God and advertise them as equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are so foolish that they present someone as the next incarnation of Lord Chaitanya or Krishna, although his activities are all contrary to a genuine incarnation, and thus they fool the innocent public. One who is intelligent and who studies the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with reference to the Vedic context cannot be bewildered by the Pashandas. Pashandas or atheists cannot understand the pastimes of the Supreme Lord or transcendental loving service to the Lord. They think that devotional service is no better than ordinary fruitive activities, karma. As the Bhagavad Gita 4.8 confirms, however, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees, saving the righteous and chastising the miscreants, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam, always crush these nonsensical atheists. That's so heavy here. Miscreants always want to deny the Supreme Personality of Godhead and put stumbling blocks in the path of devotional service. The Lord sends his bona fide representatives and appears himself to curb this nonsense. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurunti Natarinam. There is a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 4th canto, chapter 22, text 27 says, Dagdhashayo mukta samasta tadguno naivatmano bahir antarvichaste paratmano dyat vyavadhanam parustat swapne yatha purushas tadvinashe, which means, when a person becomes devoid of all material desires and liberated from all material qualities, he transcends distinctions between actions executed externally and internally. At that time, the difference between the soul and the supersoul, which was existing before self-realization, is annihilated. When a dream is over, there is no longer a distinction between the dream and the dreamer. Interesting. Should I read this once more? It's a major topic of this shloka here. When a person becomes devoid of all material desires and liberated from all material qualities, he transcends distinctions between actions executed externally and internally. At that time, the difference between the soul and the supersoul, which was existing before self-realization, is annihilated. Is annihilated. Is annihilated. When a dream is over, there is no longer a distinction between the dream and the dreamer. This is spoken by Sanat Kumar to Maharaj Prithu. So a very great authority. He's the best of the 4 Kumaras. And he says here that when you have transcended the dualities of material nature, what does it mean to transcend? Often it goes a little bit vague in our minds. What it means to transcend. There are 4 levels of consciousness which the jiva experiences daily. And our process is focused around it, which is wakeness, dream, deep sleep, and transcendence, turiya. And it is called in Sanskrit as Vishwa, Taijasa, Pragya, and Turiya. Now this word Pragya you might have come across in the Gita. Arjuna asks about this level of consciousness. He says, Sthita pragyasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sthitadhir kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. O Lord Krishna, one who is self-realized, how does he sit? How does he walk? How does he talk? How does he act? Like that. So this term pragya is there. It is actually a level of deep sleep which is considered in yoga to be samadhi. Fully in trance on the level of the Atma. But we experience it as deep sleep. And therefore, we can't do anything about it. We just pulled by Maya from wakeness into dreaming. And we can't even control our dreams. Neither can we control deep sleep. But if you properly chant, you can go there while awake into that level of deep sleep. Because in wakeness there is consciousness of this world, of the body. In dream, that consciousness is annihilated and you are in your mind, because you dream with the mind. And in deep sleep, there is neither body nor mind, there is only Atma. Therefore, it's considered to be Samadhi. So if you chant and you forget your body and mind, you're really chanting. And that means here, when you come to transcendental level, pragya, sthita pragyasya ka bhasha, that means transcendence. Every day we are experiencing it. If you cannot go into deep sleep, you can also not be recharged like a mobile. You won't function properly. You push buttons and do something else. Maybe smoke comes out, but it doesn't do what you want. Similarly, if you don't have deep sleep, you're not recharged. According to the Vedanta Sutras, you go to the level of, actually to the lap of Mahavishnu. That is deep sleep level. And you're recharged on the lap of your Father. Happy dreams. Therefore, when you wake up in your body, you are charged and you can do something in the wakeful world. That means transcendence. Now, you're sleeping on the lap of your Father. What if you could wake up and see your Father face to face with a beautiful peacock feather, gigantic, lying on the causal ocean? Say, Father, I want to cross this Viraja river and go to that planet which is visible there as a lotus. That is Turiya. That is the fourth one. To do that, you have to chant a lot and do a lot of service to Radha Gopinath. Then you can transcend the levels of consciousness of the body and of the mind. Is it now clear what transcendence means? We're experiencing it. It's not something vague or esoteric. We're experiencing it. We just have to be conscious of it. So, the Kumaras are saying here, when you have transcended the dualities of material nature, there is no more distinction between the Atma and Paramatma. Oh, that creates a lot of difficulty. For those who like to live the difference, the Bheda, everything is not the same, Bheda, they have some difficulty with this verse. And those who like to live the Abheda, they also have a difficulty with, I'm same as God, see? I'm equal. It says here, in your own Bhagavatam it says, how can you deny I'm equal to God? I'm God, I'm Bhagavan. Worship me, wash my feet and drink that water. Right? This is what happens. This is what happens because the absolute truth, the partial truth is Bheda. And the other partial truth is Abheda. The full truth is Bheda and Abheda. And if you forget one of them, you're only living half the truth. And everything is achintya from our angle of view. It is achintya, bheda, and abheda. That is the full truth. There is oneness, and there is also difference. Just like in this material world. You're very conscious of your body, and you're merged with material nature. You think you're earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, body, isn't it? You merge in consciousness with material nature. So that is oneness. And the difference is, but I have a form which is different than earth or a tree or you and me. There is also difference. So similarly, in the spiritual realm, there is also spiritual difference. So this is the major difficulty in understanding the Vedic philosophy, which creates sampradayas and havoc in Bharatadesha. And this verse describes them as pashandas. Those who actually take half the truth, they are actually mistaken. Prabhupada calls them very heavily pashandas. We are a little bit more soft because we are also having a conditioned past and we are shameful for our past deeds. So we're a little more softer than Prabhupada is. Like that. This verse is actually describing Krishna Varnam Tisa Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagya Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedasaha. The famous verse describing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the words explained here are Sangha Upanga, what it means. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is describing that in detail. And he's mentioning that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like Mamai Vangsho Jiva Loke, all the jivas are my different parts and particles, like Krishna says in the Gita. Similarly, he says, Ango Upanga. Thus, they are the limbs, angas, of his body. The parts of those limbs are called upangas. Like that. So similarly, this verse is correlating with that Gita. So now, we can look in the history and Krishna swadhamo pagate jnanadibhi saha, dharma jnanadibhi saha, kalo nashta drishamesha puranarko dhunoditaha. This is a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 3rd chapter, verse number 43. It says that when Krishna went back to his own dhama, the Goloka dhama, Krishna swa dhamo pagate, dharma jnanadibhi saha. See, he went along with dharma, the eternal duty of the jiva, and with jnana. He put it all in his traveling bag and he went to Golok. Kalau nashta drishamesha, and people who are living in Kali Yuga, they lost their clear vision. Puranarko dhunodita. Where did dharma and jnana go?
Maybe you can translate a few Sanskrit.
Dharma is the eternal occupation of the Atma, and jnana is related to the knowledge to attain, to understand that. So when Krishna left this planet, he went to his own dhama, on his own planet, the lotus planet, Goloka Dham. Then what happened on earth? Everyone lost his vision, like we see. People engrossed in material consciousness. What did Krishna do? Did he leave something behind for us also? Yes. Puranarko dhunoditaha. The Srimad Bhagavatam is like a rising sun, which illuminates our darkness and gives us the real knowledge how to understand it. But all the scriptures are still present. The Acharyas also left their commentaries behind. Sridhar Swami's commentaries, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentaries, Jiva Goswami's commentaries. Everything was already there. But they did not create a change in the heart of the materialistic people of this age. Something was lacking. Something was lacking. We need Angas and Upangas. So there was a worry in the heart of Mother Ganga, who is burdened with the responsibility of purifying the conditioned jivas. Mother Ganga is a holy river in India, and if you bathe in it regularly, then she washes away all your sins or your bad karma. You become purified. She was looking in the future and at the end of Dwapara Yuga and became worried that what will happen to me? And therefore she went to Prabhasa Kshetra, where Dwarkadhish, the Lord of Dwarka, Lord Krishna, was winding up his pastimes. And there, the Bhagavatam actually describes that period when Krishna was leaving, that is actually the time when Kali Yuga is starting. When Krishna leaves, Kali Yuga starts. Now, astrologers have calculated exactly the astrological date and year of the period of Kali Yuga, and it says in Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, 3rd chapter, 31, that the Kali Yuga starts when the Saptarishi Mandala constellation is in Magha Nakshatra. If you look in the sky, you see so many stars. And just to see little light points, it's a little difficult to orient. So therefore they have created imaginary patterns. It's called nakshatras. When Magha Nakshatra, Saptarishi, it is a 7-star constellation, is in Magha Nakshatra, in a background of a certain position, then Kali Yuga starts. Now astrologers have calculated Kali Yuga to start at 3,102 years before date. Then Kali Yuga started. 3,102 years before date. And this departure of Lord Krishna during that time is recorded in the Brahma Vivarta Purana. Very interesting. In the Krishna Janma Khanda, chapter 129. And there is a description of how the rivers and the oceans and also the rishis, the great seers, and the munis, the sages, they all come to bid farewell to Krishna, who's winding up his pastimes to go back to his eternal place. And especially the rivers are standing there, and in specific Mother Ganga, she has tears in her eyes. She's worried about her future, and she's also very much unhappy because she will not be able to see Krishna anymore. She emanated from his lotus feet. And she asks a question to Lord Krishna. She says, Bhagarathi uvacha he natha ramana sreshta yasi golokam uttamam asmakam kagatischatra bhavishyati kalau yuge. Bhagirathi, Mother Ganga says, he natha ramana sreshta, O Lord, best of the enjoyers. Krishna is the best enjoyer. Yasi golokam uttamam, when you go to your topmost planet Goloka, asmakam ka gatis chatra, what will happen to what is our faith? What is our destiny on earth? What will happen if you leave? Bhavishyati Kalau Yuga, and specifically in Kali Yuga, what will happen then? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalhe Pancha Sahasrani Varshani Tishta Bhutale Papani Papino Yani Tubhyam Dasyanti Snanataha Kalhe Pancha Sahasrani Varshani Tishta Bhutale. She says to Ganga, just wait for 5,000 years in Kali Yuga. So, when 5,000 years have passed by, something special will happen. You just wait. Still stay here and wait. Papani papino yanti, the great sinners of Kali Yuga will come and they will tubhyam dhyasanti snanata. They will take bath in you and put their sins in your river, in your waters. Man mantrupasaka sparshad bhasmi bhutani tat kshanat bhavishanti darshanatcha snanat eva hi jahnavi. Then after 5,000 years, man mantrupasaka sparshad, my worshippers who worship me with mantra upasana, they will come and by their touch, all those sins in you will be burnt to ashes. Bhavishyanti darsanacha, also by just looking at you, they will look at you and then you will also be relieved of all these sins. Snanat evahi janavi, and also by bathing in you. So by touching, seeing and bathing, they will purify the Ganga. Now, so who are these mantra upasakas and what is mantra upasana? Very interesting. These are people who can even purify Ganga. So they cannot be ordinary people. Who are they? This is a bhavishyavani, a future foretelling of what is going to happen in Kali Yuga. So, Srila Jiva Goswami, one of our predecessor acharyas, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur have explained the process of mantra upasana in the Brahma Samhita as follows, 5.3, you can check it. And there it describes that mantra upasana is silently reciting mantras. Those who are second initiated, they also sit down and recite their mantras silently. Mantras, if you chant silent, it's called manasik recitation. And when you speak it out loudly, it's called vaikari. Anyway, the techniques of chanting. But there it described that silent recitation of mantras by which you reach a meditative state. And in that state, the Ādi-līlā, which is not visible to the eyes, Krishna's pastimes, they become visible on the strength of that mantra. You can try it out. You like to try it? Okay, close your eyes. And I will recite the mantra and then you recite silently when I have repeated that mantra and see if you can see something, if that mantra is revealing something to you. Okay, close your eyes. Relax. Venam kvanantam aravindadalayataaksham Badhavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam Kandarpakoti kamaniya visesha shobham Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Now recite in your mind this mantra and try to see what the mantra is telling you and showing you. Recite again. Try again. Venam kvanantam aravindadalayataaksham Badhavatam samasitam buddha sundarangam Kandarpakoti kamaniya visesha shobham Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I see smiles on the faces. It seems to have worked. You can open your eyes. This is mantra upasana, worshipping Krishna through the medium of mantra. Okay? Recitation of verses. Now, when that process ripens and you become more advanced in it, then you don't need mantra. You can see Krishna's pastimes even with open eyes without the strength of mantra. Just like we say, there is sadhana bhakti, the practice of bhakti based on the rules of the scriptures, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and there is raganuga sadhana bhakti, which is inspired by your spontaneous attraction to Lord Krishna, like that. So this is the process which is described. So those who practice like that, they are called mantra upasakas. So those who worship Krishna through the medium of mantra. Now, if you look among the different worshippers of Lord Krishna, they all use mantras. We have 4 schools among those who worship Vishnu or Krishna, 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas called in Sanskrit, and they all use big mantras, long mantras to worship the Lord. Shantakaram bhujagasayanam padmanabham suresham vishwadharam gagana sadrisham meghavarnam shumangam lakshmikantam kamalanayanam yogi virgyanagamyam mande vishnum bhavavayharam sarvalokaikanaatam swaha. Like that, long mantras. Everyone uses mantras. Now, but they're not using mantras exclusively to attain the perfection. Look at the way they call their own process. The Ramanuja Sampradaya, that school, that branch, calls their process to be prapatti. And prapatti means surrender. Full surrender to the Supreme Lord is the way to attain Lord Narayana. Shriman Narayana Sharanam Prapadye Shrimate Narayanaya Namaha. If you go to their headquarters, then during the day, this mantra is played again and again and again and again. It basically means surrender to Narayana, Prapatti, like that. The Madhvas, which are there in Udupi, they call their process to be Tattvavada, which means trying to understand the truth, and their process is Karma Yoga, Varanashram. It is not Mantra Upasana. Nimarakas, they call their process to be Yugala Upasana, worshipping Radha and Krishna together. Yugala Upasana, we're getting close here. Then the Vallabhas, they call their path to be Pushti Marga. Pushti Marga means the path by which your bhakti, your devotion is nourished to the fullest extent. But then the Gaudiyas, they call their process to be Nam Bhajan. And they recite a verse. Harir Nama, Harir Nama, Harir Nameva Kevalam, Kalau Nashteva, Nashteva, Nashteva Gadiranyatha, which is from the Brihanaradi Puran. So, they say that exclusively by chanting the holy name, you can attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead and realize yourself. So, among these schools, it is obvious that the Gaudiyas are the ones which Krishna is talking about the mantra upasakas will come. Because the others don't call their process to be mantra upasana. We are the Gaudiyas, for those who didn't know. We are the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Okay. Now, a very interesting indication given here, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Gaunita ki jai, that these mantra upasakas, they will appear after 5,000 years when Kali Yuga has elapsed, for 5,000 years passing. Okay. Now, we already heard that Kali Yuga started in 3,102 years before date. Okay, BC, before counting. Now, Sripad Ramanujacharya, he appeared in 1017 AD. You count that up to 3,102, you get 4,190 years. Is that 5,000? No. Okay, Madhvacharya, 1239. Add up to 3,102 without your mobile. How much is that? 4,341 years. Is that 5,000? No. Okay. Vallabhacharya, 1479 AD. Added up to 3,102 without mobile. How much is it? Too difficult. 4,581 years. Is that 5,000? No. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appeared 1486 AD. Add up to 3,102. How much is that? No. 4,588. So there's neither Chaitanya, whose Krishna is talking about in the Brahmavarta Puran. Now, Nibarkacharya's, his appearance is very unclear. Actually, Nibarkacharya is mentioned in the Padma Puran even. So his birth date we don't know, his appearance day, but he lived much more before Shankaracharya, who appeared in 687 AD. So it can also not be Nibarkacharya. Now add up. 1896, up to 3,102. Do that. 1896 plus 3,102. See who is the quickest here. Calculate.
4,998.
Very good. 4,998. Is that equal to 5,000? Only 2 years difference. Let's say rounded 5,000. 1896 is the appearance day every year of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Who's Krishna talking about in the Brahmavarta Puran? Srila Prabhupada. He will come. And exactly, it's so precise. Now, if you have a long period of 5,000 years, obviously there can be maybe 2 years difference, because the calculation in the Vedic calendar is sometimes, adjusted a little bit. Because the Vedic year is 11 years shorter than the solar calendar. Therefore, you have each year, we adjust, and every fourth year, after 3 years, you have an extra month, Purushottam Adhik. Because 3 times 11 is 33. So you add up to that, you get an extra month, like that. So there must be only 2 years difference. He rounds, he says 5,000 years. So obviously, the one who is predicted in the Brahmavarta Puran is Abhaya Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Right? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And further on, Lord Krishna foretold Mother Ganga what will happen further. He says, I'll skip the Sanskrit for your comfort. Wherever my holy names or the Srimad Bhagavatam is recited, go to that place and listen with full attention to my glorification. By listening to the Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing Hari Kirtan, all sins are burned to ashes, even the sin of killing a Brahmana. All sins are also burned by embracing Vaishnavas, just as dry grass and wood is burned by fire. Although the earth will be burdened with sins for 5,000 years, still due to the presence of all those Vaishnavas, the entire earth will become a pious tirtha, O Jahnavi. Jahnavi is a beautiful name of Mother Ganga, the daughter of Jahnu Rishi, Jahnavi. In the bodies of my devotees are extraordinary powers to constantly cleanse, so much so that Mother Earth will become pure by the dust of the feet of my devotees. Who's this? Krishna talks about the devotees who will purify the earth. If the mantra upasaka who appears 5,000 years after Kali Yuga, then who must be these devotees? You all. Krishna mentions you all, right? Isn't it? All glories. Krishna even has seen in the future and is foretelling that you all will come. And you will travel the earth and you will purify the earth with the dust of your lotus feet. Look at this one. This is all still the same conversation between Ganga and Krishna in the Brahmavarta Puran. Daily they purify the places of pilgrimage. We go to Vrindavan Dham, isn't it, to get purified? Or maybe we go there to purify Vrindavan Dham. Daily they purify the places of pilgrimage. Daily they purify even the whole world. My learned devotees who practice Nama Bhajan, in a Sanskrit mantra upasaka vipra, the Brahmanas who are worshipping me through the medium of mantra, Nama Bhajan, chanting the holy name, only eat my food remnants. So please, don't eat offered food anymore. Otherwise Krishna is not predicting you. Only his remnants you eat. My devotees who without interruption meditate upon me, in the Sanskrit, nityam dhyayante, constantly worship, meditate upon me, by chanting my holy names, are more dear to me than my own life. Just by touching them, the wind and fire become purified. For the duration of 10,000 years of Kali Yuga, my devotees will stay on earth. After the departure of my devotees, all those who remain behind will turn into outcasts. When the earth is thus without my devotees, she will be swallowed by the powerful influence of Kali Yuga. While he was speaking like this, a personality with 4 arms appeared out of Sri Krishna's body. He shone bright like 100 moons. He had a conch, a disc, a club and a lotus in his hands. He was decorated with the sign of Srivatsa, which is a beautiful hair curl, and is a sign of the goddess of fortune on his chest, Lakshmi. He climbed a beautiful chariot and went to the ocean of milk. Amazing. This is the section in the Brahma Vivarta Puran which Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually read, and by which he was foreseeing the future that a great personality will come. And I can see in Paris, in London, maybe also Amsterdam you saw, in Germany, there will be chanting of the holy names of Hari Kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, what I have spoken here is a summary of my book which I wrote, How to Choose a Guru. It's in Dutch, Hoe moet een guru kiezen, because the congregation, they ask all kinds of questions. I just give a few evidences here. There are more evidences in the scriptures of Prabhupada's appearance, and they are undeniable truth. So, a few of them I will cite to end my class. And what is the prediction made by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He says, Prithvi thea che jato nagaradi gram sarvatra pachara hoibe mor nam. I think everyone knows this verse. On the entire earth, the amount of villages and cities everywhere, there will be the preaching of my holy name, which is happening. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he predicted, soon there will be a time that the chanting of Krishna's name will be heard in England, France, Russia, Germany, and America. He wrote this in 1881 in his monthly magazine, Sajjana Toshani. And in 1881, there is a controversy saying here, no, it's Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was predicted by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It must be he. But then Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote this in 1881. At that time, Bimal Prasad, that little boy who became Prabhupada's guru in the future, was already 7 years old. He's born in 1874. And at that time, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is writing, soon there will be a time when the chanting will come. So he's not referring to his son, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He's referring to somebody else. And he says that person will come in the future. Now, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was known as Bimal Prasad in his youth, he predicts in July 1935. This is from the Prabhupada Lilamrita. And they are recommending a person named Abhay Babu. Who is Abhay Babu? Srila Prabhupada. Abhaya Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. They say, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says there, when the time will come, he will do everything by himself. Referring to Abhay Babu. You do not need to recommend him. So, we find predictions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, predictions of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and predictions by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Did Prabhupada know that he was the person predicted in the scriptures? Let us see. There is a room conversation with the Canadian ambassador in Iran on the 13th of March 1975. Srila Prabhupada says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the first origin of this movement, but he simply thought of it, and he was expecting some other's appearance who take up the work. Well, somebody says that I am that same man, and I was born in 1896. Prabhupada knew. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine, with strong weapons. He will crush the atheists. Nirvisheshvadis and Shunyavadis. Those who believe that the absolute truth is nothing, is zero, atheists, right? And Shunyavadi, everything is one. He will come, and these are the Tikshna Astras, the great powerful weapons. What are the powerful weapons of Prabhupada, which he used? Sorry? Yes, that's a powerful astra. Chanting, another astra, another weapon. Sorry? His devotees. What specifically among the prasad? The bullets. I call the bullets. These are the powerful weapons, you know. Prabhupada used to, he is the actual anga and upanga we find here. So, what was lacking? All the commentaries were there, all the books were already written before Prabhupada came. What was lacking? Why didn't it happen? Actually, this challenging question, I put those to the Sanskritists in Vrindavan who only read the commentaries and avoid Prabhupada's books, right? And I asked them, why don't you read Prabhupada? Oh, he based his commentaries on Chakravarti Pad, on Sridhar Swami. I'm reading them. Well, what was lacking? It was already there before Prabhupada came, these books. What was lacking? What did Prabhupada do?
Love.
Sorry?
Love.
Love.
Translate.
Exactly. He put it into a translation and into a way how to practice it in this day and age. And those same commentaries, which were almost getting disappeared in time, became so much revived that everyone is studying them now and they're flourishing now. So Prabhupada, he is an acharya. He's not a translator. He's an acharya. He teaches by personally living it. And he had to come to the West. And in all places of the world, to America, headquarters of Kali, and started there. If you can do it in America, in New York, you can do it everywhere. I think that's the message Prabhupada gave, isn't it? So if you can do it there, you can do it everywhere. So nobody could say, but no buts. I showed you in America how to do it, so you can do it everywhere else. Because everyone is a little bit more, traditional than the Americans are. They're the most modernized. So that is lacking, and that is the anga, upanga, which is mentioned here. Thus the Lord is equipped with sharp weapons in the form of his parts and plenary portions. Srila Prabhupada. All these weapons are competent to crush the faithless atheists. Thank you for your attention. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions? Any doubts? Any disagreements? Interesting? Yes.
In the beginning you spoke about this Dvaita Advaita.
Yes.
And how actually it says the soul and the sub-soul, they become one. And you explained, but maybe you could...
More explanation.
More, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I second that also.
you say same. I put it.
In many years, I've in ISKCON now 40 plus years, I've never heard anybody addressing this issue the way you address it.
Really?
Yeah.
I would refer you to the purport of Srila Prabhupada of that 4th canto, 22nd chapter, and text number 27. Now, philosophically, it's always a disagreement. But if you actually go into meditative state of chanting, mantropasana, all the disagreements and the philosophical contradictions dissolve, you see. And the state of samadhi, which is described by Krishna as pragya in the Gita, is a state in which you're not conscious of your body or your mind. What remains there is only the Atma, along with Paramatma. Now, all the contradictions, all the disagreements are on the level of mind and body. Because this very world is created out of vikara, the three modes of material nature, which are always fighting for supremacy. It mentions in the Gita. And therefore this world is like that. It can only exist if there is disturbance. If there is so much peace, it dissolves. This is that world, you see. The world of wakeness. And in a mind, you have so many desires. Now the mind is in between the Atma and the body, you see. So there is inspirations coming from this side and also from that side. Again, a duality. Which one would you choose? A materialist chooses for that one, the external world, enjoy there. But a rishi or muni should choose for the other one. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagriti sanyami yasyam jagriti bhutani sa nisha pasyato munah. That famous verse, what is wakeness is for another sleep state. So when Krishna mentions you have to wake, or jiva jago, he's not meaning you wake up in your gross body and enjoy this world. No. Jiva jago means wake up on the level of the Atman, in deep sleep, on the level on the lap of Mahavishnu. If you can wake up there. Actually, when I gave this class in what is that place? Den Haag, there was a Prabhupada disciple who caught the point, and he said, Prabhu, what if you would die on the lap of Mahavishnu? I said, you have summarized my whole class in one line. You lose your gross and mental body and you're liberated. Now, that's not all, because you can also go to that level with just jnana. Sthita pragyasika, that pragya, one who can control his senses like a tortoise, pull his limbs in. Krishna mentions all these qualities. What is sthita dhira? That's not enough, because jnanis, they also go to that level. Unless you have intense love, premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena, santah sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti, only then that fourth level, that ecstatic, fourth, turiya means fourth, that manifests. Only if you have sambandha, relationship, and you feel that also. The more intense you feel it, the more it becomes revealed. Then only you can go into beyond the light, the Brahma Jyoti, the light, into the planets. Like that. So, if you chant, it is a message every night Lord Vishnu is giving you. Go deeper in your chanting. Deeper, 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 deeper. Forget your body, forget your mind. Just be with me, with the holy name. Because this holy name is coming from Goloka. Golokera prema dhana harinama sankirtan. It's coming from there. It's just a staircase. You can go even to there. Not all mantras are coming from Goloka. You see? But this one is coming. And definitely can lead you to that state also. Now, because this verse is spoken by the four Kumaras, great authorities, first sons of Brahma, even more senior to Lord Shiva, it creates a deep thought. He says there is no difference between Atma and Paramatma. Now, this is what we call, but in the Gita, Krishna says that one who is merged in consciousness is very dear to me. Merged in consciousness. Becoming one with the consciousness of Krishna. There is an act of devotion lecture where Prabhupada mentions at the end, he said that in the more advanced state, I can't exactly quote here, but I can give you the reference, because you're just asking that. In the most advanced state, you see Krishna everywhere, including in yourself. Everywhere also means within you. You are also Krishna, but very tiny Krishnas. Very tiny Krishna, so tiny that when you fall in this material world, you will become affected. But the big Krishna, the Vibhu Krishna, not. So the substance has to become the same, Brahma Bhuta. Then bhakti starts. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Na sochati, na kankshati. Samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. So don't remain Jiva Bhuta, become Brahma Bhuta. Come to the level of that pragya, that deep sleep level, where there is no mind and body, there is no gross world, there is no subtle world, there is only transcendence. And then start bhakti from there. That is the actual process of bhakti. Is it clear now? No.
Well,
What is the actual question?
well, that because Atma and Paramatma is like, they have also this explanation that when you have reached that highest stage, then you are like a green bird entering a green tree, and you keep your identity completely. So when you are one with Krishna's consciousness, then that is fine, but still you remain your pure individual identity as a jiva.
Okay.
But
okay.
in complete understanding and being together with Krishna,
Listen careful to the translation of Prabhupada, because you're putting in something into which is not in a translation. He says, at that time, the difference between the soul and the super soul, which was existing before self-realization, is annihilated. He doesn't say one. He says the difference between them becomes annihilated.
But annihilated is like becoming the same.
It's like, but it's not the same.
Okay.
This is what is the achintya portion of our philosophy. How is the difference dissolved, and still there is a form? I'm getting this question when I'm preaching in Holland. When Buddhists come in my classes, they say, how is there forms after the light? So if you take initiation in this path of the person who's dancing, he will show you there are forms made of that light. That these forms are condensed light. So to explain it, another terminology, it's condensed Brahman, right? Like that. So you have to be one with the substance. That is the abheda part of our philosophy. Then the bheda comes that to experience rasa, they are actually one and come as two. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Aladini Shakti Rasmad. Ekatmanau Api Deva Bhedau Gatau Tau. They become two. So that's the principle. They are one, and there is difference, not this material difference. Difference in transcendence, because it's based on a rasa. In order to exchange rasa, you need two forms, which are basically made of the same substance. So there's no difference. It's like a drop of the ocean is equal to the ocean. Isn't it? Same qualities, everything. One is a drop, and one is the full ocean. It remains the same thing. And it is not just because Prabhupada is arguing. He's quoting Upanishads, the famous quote, Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko yo bahunam vidadhati kaman. The one eternal, Nityo nitya, the one eternal and the many eternals. The one conscious and the many conscious. Chetana chetanam. Eko yo bahunam, the one person is fulfilling the desires of the many eternals and the many conscious. So it is like that. And if you comment on this verse, then you should do it through the Upanishads. And Prabhupada does it in the purport. Just study, just read that, you'll see it. The way Prabhupada puts it. And also it makes it very clear why this misunderstanding comes between Dvaita and Advaita. Because the books are full of these things. And actually it is a very advanced level how you can, that you experience you are one and simultaneously you are a person also. First you have to get initiated and enter into the family of Krishna. Then you are one family, isn't it? We're one family. One. We're all one family. But within the family, there are individuals like that. So it takes time to realize that. I hope this much I can explain. Anybody else wants to add to that or?
Allow me just a little thing before you. Thank you very much for it's really for the very first time that I'm coming close to what you there mentioning, because if I got it right, Prabhupada is saying that the difference between the soul and super soul is being dissolved.
Annihilated.
Annihilated. Okay, annihilated. It's not anymore unexisting anymore.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they merge, they become one, or that the soul is actually the super soul.
This is the difficulty with Mayavadis. They think, oh, annihilated means I have become it.
It might mean that there is no difference in desire, in
There's so many understand. It's true. One in desire, one in duty, one in goal, like that. So therefore I quoted this Gita verse, one who's merged in consciousness, not merged in body, merged in consciousness. Therefore you have to become Krishna. You all have to become Krishna in consciousness. Become Krishna conscious, isn't it? That means you have to become Krishna in consciousness. Otherwise you can't go to Krishna, because only spirit can serve spirit. Matter cannot serve spirit. You have to become equal in quality with Krishna. You have to become Krishna in consciousness. Like that. Very nice, you know? Become Krishna conscious.
Krishna, thank you very much for your explanation. So, Nirvish says Sunyavadi. So the tendency actually was there to point out the oneness. So in India especially, there's a lot of Mayavad going on, and this difference was not so much predicted, preached. So therefore Prabhupada only in like a few verses he mentioned this oneness to avoid actually feeding the Mayavad tendency. And so in this verse actually is one of the few verses where Prabhupada actually mentioned this. But still, like you said, it needs some explanation. How we are one, like Krishna says, you have to accept the Guru, Tatvadi Paranipatina, and that then when you hear from the Guru, you hear that actually every living entity is in me, is part of me, and I'm in them. So it looks like oneness, but it still is mentioned difference. Though, if you hear from the Guru properly, then he also says that you're one and you're different. So in Prabhupada stresses very much the difference. It was like all the verses he was hammering against this Mayavad philosophy. Yes. So if you speak like this about this verse, then so the devotees have learned to jump on this Mayavad idea. So you see the reaction.
Yeah, therefore I said that those who only live the difference, they get difficulty with this verse. And those who only live the oneness, they also get difficulty with this verse. I just want to put it just, in the public and see how they react. Because write Bhagavatam there. You can't deny it. I even gave the translation. So for us, it's also an awakening. That listen, the complete truth is not just the difference. There's a non-difference also. And unless you live that, you're not living the full philosophy, the full truth. You see? You have the partial truth. And then you get, not advancing anymore, What's happening, You have to become Krishna in consciousness. That's mean advancement. Like that.
Thank you, Anupama Krishna. So, very interesting point in definition of tattva, absolute truth, is that it's non-dual.
Non-dual.
Advayam.
Yeah,
It's
Advayam.
no dvaya, no duality. So, therefore, we are the same as Krishna, the same substance. Absolute truth is realized in 3 levels, but the substance is the same. It's just a matter of looking at it. So Bhagavad Gita also says, Chidatmana prasantasya paramatma samadhita. So if you control your senses and you're completely free of material desires, and your mind is controlled, then the super soul is already reached. Right? That's a very interesting part also. But if you look at the end of Prabhupada's purport of the verse that you quoted, because Prabhupada always gives the conclusion at the end of his purport.
Yes.
So here it says, similarly, a liberated person understands that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, acting in accordance with the desire of the Supreme Lord, and as such there is no distinction between himself and the Supreme Lord, although both of them remain and retain their individuality. And then Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam. Of course, technically speaking, we are not Vishnu Tattva.
No.
We are Jiva Tattva, so we remain very insignificantly small, whereas Super Soul is part of Vishnu Tattva and is amazingly big, great. So therefore, the substance is the same, but as Prabhupada many times said, quality is the same, quantity is a huge difference. So I think the oneness in desire is what Prabhupada emphasizes at the end of the purport.
Merge in consciousness. Okay? Merge in desire.
Which verse was that?
This is 4:22:27 is Prabhupada.
I started my lecture with quoting 4:22:27. So study read that one. Some question here? Some comments?
That's just
Okay.
clarification a little bit. You said that it is.
Wait. There are some people listening online.
So you said that actually it's connected with what is said in the Isopanishad and.
No, it's not Ishopanishad. I think it's Kathopanishad. Nityo Nitanam.
But in the Isopanishad it's also said, Krishna is the whole, is everything. And if we are part and parcel of him. So.
Oh, I quoted at the end of one Nectar of Devotion lecture, where Prabhupada says that when you see Krishnas everywhere, including in yourself, right? So if you look in yourself, you see, oh, Krishna is also there. So therefore then, that's a higher tattva then, it comes up that if you can see Krishna everywhere, where does the mood of separation come in? And that was very great, to attain the mood of separation after being able to see Krishna and everywhere in every atom. Like that. Anyway, it's another topic, it's not in this one. Here it is about Anga and Upanga, the Lord and his powerful weapons and his powerful devotees who crush the atheists, the Nirvisheshas and the Shunyavadis, like that. So I showed a weapon here, which is Abhay Charanaravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who's one of these Anga Upangas. What happened? The gong. That was right? The gong means, confirm. Okay? So should,
Thank you. Hey Krishna. 2 years ago I was home and I was singing the Maha Mantra. At that time I didn't know yet it was the same as Krishna. It was Krishna himself because it has been a few months that I was coming here. And at one moment I felt I became the mantra. Is it what you just explained?
at one moment what?
I realized I was the mantra.
You was the mantra.
Yes. Is it what you explained?
Yeah, for a moment you jump to the level of samadhi. For 1 second, when you realize that you are the mantra, then you are on the level that you forget the body, you forget the mind, and then actually bhakti is supposed to start. You catch it? Because your other mantra is fine, you have reached this level of substance. But now you have to reach the level of pure devotion to Krishna. Right? Basically what you reached in there is the tatastha level. The jiva is in between spirit and matter. Like that. It's on the border. Tatastha, on the border of the spiritual. So when you realize that you're a mantra, you are on that level already, which is very high. Which is what I mentioned as the Karana level, or the ocean, the state of deep sleep of Mahavishnu. Like that. For a second, you got that glimpse. Which is quite, intimate things. These things we don't speak in open actually. But anyway, because you addressed it, these are called realizations. Realizations are not something which happens between the ears. It's coming from the heart. Your existence changed actually at the time, isn't it? That's called realization. You have lived it, experienced that. Now keep that with you and meditate on it so that it becomes more and more and more like that. These are the jewels, yes, these are the jewels of realizations. But you fell out of it because you forgot about it, isn't it?
But since then it's just...
Yeah, I know. It comes and down. So that is what we call beginner's luck, Kripa Siddhi. Narada also had that in the Bhagavatam. Beginner's luck. But now keep that luck with you. If you can keep it, you can become rich. If you can't keep it with you, then it's lost. See? Beginner's luck?
Sorry.
Somebody comes, beginner's luck. When I first time saw a picture of Radha Gopinath, I'm like, what is this? I've seen Krishna's, figures before, but nothing like this. And there was a bald-headed, shiny person in Amsterdam temple. His name was Nanda Kumar. He said, yeah, this is Radha Gopinath. You want to meet him? I was like, yeah. So much devotion and enthusiasm, no offense, nothing. Right? Then you get that kripa. But as you start, I'm a little better, I understand something, this and that, then it reduces. You started put in intellect, put in the mind, you get out of the deep sleep state, out of the Atma state, into the mental state, and the physical state, and then things are gone. Right? I think you caught what I'm trying to say?
Sorry?
You understood what I tried to say?
Sometimes not, because sometimes I get distracted because of...
No, but the thing you mentioned here, that is called realization. When things on the atmic level becomes alive, then we call it realization. Not an intellectual insight, that's still the mind level of the mind. There has to be no mind. Though it looks like it's the mind, but it's not the mind. That is called realization. And that, beg, borrow, or steal, but get realizations. Okay?
Thank you.
Grantara Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.
Praise Krishna Prabhu ki jai.